So Public Allies has always been affectionately, I guess, called the hardest year of your life. And congratulations, you guys have completed the hardest year of your life. Very good. Yes, give yourselves a round of applause. Excellent. I've now done it twice, and I think I'm done. I've had an incredible 2 years here, and I've been so honored and blessed to be part of it. But yeah, I'm excited to see what's next. So this year I was honored to be on the Executive Ally team of 3, which was a challenge in and of itself. And we were incredibly honored to have the chance to meet some really incredible people in the field of asset-based community development from Indianapolis. So a couple of you got to meet Diamond Hargis for our TSP project back in, what was that, April? April? It was April. And he's an expert in ABCD from DePaul University. And he provided expertise and a partnership for our TSP. So my whole topic is not about TSP, although I could present for like an hour on that, but I won't do that to you. But the things that I was able to learn from Diamond have been extremely beneficial for my professional life as well as my personal development. And that's what I want to talk to you all about today. So I'm going to go through kind of the 4 principles of asset-based community development and then also my personal takeaways. So ABCD has 4 main principles. Number 1, it focuses on community assets and strengths rather than problems and needs. Number 2, it identifies and mobilizes individual and community assets, skills, and passions. Number 3, it's community-driven. It's building communities from the inside out instead of the other way around. And number 4 is that it's relationship-driven. So number 1, focusing on community assets. So I've got glasses for focus because I need glasses, otherwise I can't see anything. So in order to focus things, I've got glasses to represent that. So a typical community development scenario involves on focusing on what's wrong. So that kind of generates a glass half empty mentality and makes the community seem toxic, right? So who's gonna give money to a toxic community? If you look at it and you're like, oh, well, this place sucks and the people are terrible and no one's involved. Who wants to give money to that? Funds are then given to external agencies and services to come in and fix the problems. But on the contrary, asset-based community development asks the questions, what are the strengths and assets of the community? When was a time you felt your community was at its best? What do you value most about your community? And then what is the essence of the community that makes it unique and strong? So how we see the community can really shape how we respond to the community. Number 2 is identifying and mobilizing assets, skills, and passions. So I've got a phone for like mobilizing like the Power Rangers or like a bat signal. I didn't have a bat signal, so I brought my phone to symbolize like mobilizing. I'm calling like a call to action kind of. So some primary focus of areas of assets and stuff is the skills and abilities of individuals, institutions like non-governmental, governmental and governmental agencies, businesses, nonprofits, et cetera, and physical environment, and then the broad economy, including like traditional economy, like production and consumption, as well as informal economy, like people swapping goods and doing volunteer work, stuff like that. All really important for mobilizing the assets of a community. Number 3 is that it's community-driven. Got a Matchbox car because I'm an adult and I carry Matchbox cars with me. This is important because growth needs to be directed by the agencies and the people of a community instead of from outside agencies and people. And then when strengths are realized, it's more likely that we'll harness those strengths to create positive change. And then number 4 is that ABCD is relationship driven. So it's all about who is in the car with you. So I've got a toy steering wheel because that's my life, okay. I have those in my house. Relationships and social networks are already assets in their own right. You know, they usually say there's like 6 degrees of separation between everyone on Earth. But in, neighborhoods, we're talking like 2 or 3. Everyone knows someone that either knows someone or whatever that can make things happen. And because everyone knows someone, it's important to utilize those relationships to gain access to otherwise hidden resources, networks, and energies. So these 4 principles make up ABCD in a nutshell. But my big revelation through delving into this is that it also shaped my personal development. So I would argue that by applying these same 4 principles to your own lives, you can begin to develop beyond what you maybe thought was possible. So I'm going to call this the 4 principles of asset-based personal or self-development. Title is still in progress. So focusing on your own assets. If you just change out, you can find those assets online. If you change out self or me or whatever for a community, you can get 4 new principles. So if you're focusing on your assets, right, instead of community assets. So what are my strengths and assets? When was the time that I was at my best? What do I value most about myself? What is it that makes me unique and strong? Those aren't questions that we often ask ourselves. We're generally, at least I am, focused on what's wrong with us instead of what's right. So it's much better than asking what's wrong with me. Number 2 is identifying, mobilizing asset skills and passions. So strengths finders, self-reflection, personality tests, trying new things. Those are all ways to begin to find out what we're good at, what we're skilled at, where our passions are. And once we know these things, we can begin to activate them in our lives to begin our own growth. Being self-driven. We can't rely on other people to look at our life and decide what's best for us and determine what we need to do. Our motivation for self-development can't come from other people. It has to come from within, just like community development should come from within. We know it's best for us, and we also know our own potential, even when it's not being realized. And then finally, relationship-driven. So who's in the car with you? Who do you surround yourself with? We can't rely on other people to develop us, but we'll constantly be shaped and changed by the people that we choose to surround ourselves with. Our networks provide a myriad of opportunities for us to meet new people, and once you have relationships, you can begin, those new relationships can help you to become your best you. So my journey through this asset-based self-development has been great. I've been feeling more empowered and much less self-deprecating. I would challenge all of you to examine your assets and to utilize them to develop yourself and your leadership in the future. So it's been an honor to spend the last 2 years with Sarah and with Public Allies in serving the communities and the people of Pittsburgh. I wanted to thank you all for your service. It's been an honor and a blessing to serve with you. So I can't wait to see what you all do next. Thank you.